Hello and welcome. Today we will be going through the next poem in my book of poetry called Maybe Someday, that I wrote when I was 17 and 18. Um, if you're new here, just a little context about it. It was written uh, when I was very much in like a dark place in my life, and uh, writing these poems really helped me to um, kind of work through those things I was struggling with and get to a much better place. And now here I am sharing my story and the things I wrote, and hope that it can connect with you or help you in some way. So today's poem is one called This Is All I Can Be. And it's a little bit of a long one, but um, clearly I had a lot to say with it. And I think it's a really important one that I wrote early on that just really helped me to kind of see these things I was struggling with internally in a bit of a different way and give me a new perspective on some of those things I was dealing with, and um, started to kind of give me, though I was, of course, struggling a lot and not in a good place, and had a very like dark, pessimistic view on a lot of things regarding myself. It kind of helped to be one of the early things that kind of gave me a bit of a more positive outlook on some things, and just kind of switched my perspective and thoughts a bit, even though while it may not have completely like solved my problems immediately or anything, it kind of was a good early step in that direction. And I think you'll see a bit more what I mean as we get later into the poem, and then afterwards when I share some of the thoughts and meaning that I have behind it. Um, so, as always, I'll start by just reading it and then dive into the story and meaning behind it afterwards. So, here is This Is All I Can Be. I was walking alone down the street with my friends when we wandered into a forest around one of the bends, not thinking much, just trying to escape from the stress of the lives that we live every day, relaxing our minds and having some fun, not caring what's happening or what could go wrong. How could we live in that previous state? We can never go back to living that way. But as we trudge onward, I begin to see dark little creeping imperfections all around me, the twigs twisting and turning to get in my way, the clouds crawling in quickly to block out the day. The flow of the flowers falls out of synchronization, and even the ants are all growing impatient. I barely even notice as my friends fade away, because in the cusp of this calamity, this is all I can be. I try to move forward, feeling numb and alone, but my vision is blurry and my feet are asleep. Pound them into the ground and rub my eyes a few times. I try to get going, but then realize there's a big figure hiding out in the brush. I hear it draw nearer, sounding ferocious and gruff. Frozen in place, I see its big angry face. I break out of my daze and, acting with celerity, I decide to run. But where do I go? I know I cannot stay here. I must flee from all this great danger and fear. But it feels like my feet are magnetized to the ground. I've got to keep running or soon I'll be found. I'm swimming through mud and I'm falling through sand. I wish my friends were here, but would they understand? Could they help? Would they help? Would they be too scared? I think it's better they're safe. More and more beasts coming out of the trees. It's obviously clear that they're following me. They smell the sweet taste of a victim who's already lost. How can I keep going when I've already lost? That's when the swarm came flooding in, swooping in from every angle and piercing my skin, finding their way in deeper and blinding my view. I try to stop them, but there's nothing I can do. All these dark little bats around me fluttering, cluttering my thoughts. I can't think straight. All I hear are the words that they're quietly uttering. This is all you can be. 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 I yell in agreement with my new army. I feel so strong and so fearless, screaming together in harmony. I feel free. The beasts come charging full force. Bring them on, let them come, for they are not ready for what I'm about to become. There's nothing I can't be. There's nothing I can't be. Just then, one of the beasts bursts through the great curtain of darkness. It breaks down the walls, protecting my vulnerability. As if at my peak, I was at my greatest weakness. Like my great increase in power was the source of my increased frailty. As he approaches, he stares me straight in the eyes. I stare sternly back, ready to meet my demise. And we slowly sink deeper. I think I see something lighter inside. But wait. I shoot up and I scream. I look around frantically and see all the darkness is gone. Was it all a dream? Oh, but how can it be? I saw it all so clearly. Were the bats ever there, or did they just go away? Were the beasts of my nightmares really there to destroy me? Did I let this all happen? Could I have avoided it all? Is this really what I was meant to be? This is not what I want to be, but this is all I can be? Is this all I can be? This is all I can be. This is all I can be. How can this be? Oh, how can this be? So remember, when everything seems to be going all wrong all around you, don't make it worse than it needs to be. You don't have to embrace it, but don't let it destroy you. It will make you into something you don't want to be. Because when reality becomes the worst possibility, there is no other way it can possibly be. This is all you can be. Even when truly it's not what you see, your worrying mind just cannot agree. You see, you just need to believe that things may be better than how they may seem, and how you perceive is something no one else sees, something only you can be. So please, try not to deceive yourself and relieve all the burdens and thoughts that you always carry, because they're all you can be, unless you don't let them be. So, this is all you can be. Hopefully, firstly, you made it through that and are still here. But if you are, I hope that something in there at least can connect with you in some way, or just stood out to you in some way and can be something important to you. And of course, as I always say, if anything there did stand out to you, or maybe it was just interesting or something you liked from there, I'm always interested to know what within my words could connect with you in some way. So I would always encourage you to share that in the comments, and would love to see what you thought. So now we'll kind of get into talking about the story behind it and sort of my intentions and meaning behind this poem. So first of all, the context and story behind this one is a little bit different than it normally is for me. Because normally with my poetry, since it's very personal and stuff, it'll come exactly from something I'm dealing with and or thinking about and whatever, and so I'll just kind of start writing about this idea. But this one actually, I wrote for a school assignment, and of course, me being me, I felt like the expectations for it and stuff were a little bit lame, and so I kind of wanted to take it to different level and make something a bit more interesting or personal to myself. So I mean, I still did end up writing, of course, from a personal place and everything, but just from a different point of view a little bit, just since I was writing it for an assignment. And I don't remember the exact like criteria for the assignment and stuff, but um, I know that it was um, like around Halloween time, so it was supposed to be some sort of horror-y story kind of thing to like fit the Halloween theme and stuff, um, and had to kind of be a sort of narrative kind of um, style with like a clear story and progression and um, like climax and all that stuff um, that like stories typically have and you learn about in English classes and whatever. Um, and but I just didn't want to write some like basic horror story thing with like monsters and stuff like that because that just I mean didn't interest me. And so I decided to kind of take that idea of sort of horror story kind of thing and put it to what was the greatest horror in my own personal life, which was my own mind. And um, so I kind of took little bits of like my own mind and things that I struggled with and kind of personified them in these different things that I talk about in that poem, and kind of told a story through sort of my own experiences that I had, like getting into these like depressive cycles and all this kind of stuff, and um, the way those kinds of things controlled me, and um, how I just kind of let that happen too, and often would do it to myself. And um, these like also, I guess, like cycles of overthinking and how devastating that could be to my own mental health all the time. Um, so yeah, that's kind of the main idea behind where it came from. And so now we'll kind of go through a bit more specifically through the whole poem, sort of line by line, as I normally do, and talk about what specific parts exactly mean to me. Since this is a bit of a longer one, I'm gonna try not to like break down every single line here and kind of skip around a bit to the important parts. But as we know, I can be a bit of a yapper, so we'll see how that goes. But so starting off, I just kind of um, set the scene a bit with me just like walking around with my friends, um, trying to just have a good time and relax from the stress of our lives as like busy high school students and all this stuff. And um, at least for me, that is not at all an easy thing, and especially then, like I've gotten a little bit better about that, but still struggle with that, like trying to relax. And um, like for me, my mind is always like running like at full speed and uh, putting all its energy into everything. Like it's, I mean, to an overwhelming and I think unhealthy level, um, where I just can't get myself to relax at all ever. And so that starts off me trying to just enjoy some time with my friends and forget about my worries and whatever, and everything for just a little bit. But um, then as it goes on into that second stanza, I just can't help but start overthinking the smallest, most insignificant things, like I explained there, um, and all the little imperfections and all the little things I need to do, or anything, whatever it is, just the smallest things can just like get into my mind and make me overthink and just exhaust myself again. And um, the most insignificant things can just completely like spiral me out of like feeling happy into another extended depressive episode kind of thing. Like it, like especially at the time, was really bad. And so then, I mean, it gets to this point where um, I like don't even notice that I'm drifting away from how I was, or from enjoying this time with my friends, or away from like being happy and relaxed. And because like to me, it, I mean, feeling this way was almost like my comfort zone, even though it's like discomfort was my comfort. And so, as I say, they're like, in the cusp of this calamity, this is all I can be. So even though this is like me falling into a bad place and feeling horrible, and um, putting myself in, sort of putting myself in danger sometimes, like mentally or whatever, um, it just felt like it's all I can be. There's no other option. This is just what I am, and it's completely natural and normal to me. Like not feeling this way is unnatural. So then, and as we go into like the third stanza there, um, as I get into this like darker place or whatever, I will often just um, would often just try to keep on pushing through, and um, try to kind of get myself out of it a bit sometimes, like um, trying to not slip back into that, even though in a way I sort of like wanted to, even though like of course I didn't want to be suffering or unhappy, but it's just of course what was like comfortable to me. So often kind of would, but try to break myself out of that daze, and um, try to just keep pushing through and hope it'll pass quickly and not get too bad. But then that's when I have the that beast, as I call it, enter. And um, that's just supposed to like represent the like main core of my depression and kinds of stuff like that, like that side of me or part of me that kind of beats myself down, and um, holds me in these um, dark places and just makes me feel horrible. Um, and so, um, at least for me personally, like this whole thing is a very visual thing. And like the beast, I don't know why, but when I thought about it, I picture sort of more like a rhinoceros like beast kind of thing. Um, because I mean, I'm kind of curious what kinds of things throughout here you may have pictured throughout. So then, as I'm sort of slipping back into that dark place, that beast appears. And when that starts to come, and I see that I'm about to like be captured again, sort of by this um, depression and darkness or whatever, um, I would try sometimes to get away from that and force myself not to drift back into that. But um, no matter how much I felt like I was trying to escape it, it was like how I say here, like um, it feels like my feet are magnetized to the ground. Like there is no escape. No matter how much I'm trying to get away, I just can't. Um, and so I kind of get to a place of desperation where um, no matter what I do, I just can't get away. And then there's this part that I think is kind of especially important here, where I say like, I wish my friends were here, but would they understand? Could they help? Would they help? Would they be too scared? I think it's better they're safe. And so, as I would start getting back into this dark place of mine, um, I would consider like asking for help, or um, anything like that to um, like kind of have someone else help to get me out of this. But I always felt like I couldn't ask for help because I like didn't want to be a burden to anyone else, and um, didn't really want to like be vulnerable, and um, didn't want them to see me in this way and judge me or whatever, and was worried that I may do more harm to them, um, or just like, as I said, like be a burden to them because of this. And so I would always just try to act on my own and just try to get myself out of it. But since I usually couldn't do that, just suffer through it alone. So then, because of that, because I don't have any help and I'm just there stuck and can't escape, the beasts just keep on coming, and um, the struggles I was dealing with would just become greater and greater, and um, I would just feel worse and worse and sadder, and um, then there's that part of they smell the sweet taste of a victim who's already lost. How can I keep going when I've already lost? Because when I was in that place, like before I had even completely sunken in, I already felt defeated. I had already given up, um, and would just accept that even though I don't like it, it's just how it is, and I'm just gonna have to suffer through this, and I'll um, let it weigh down on me and destroy me for as long as it needs, and hopefully come out of it fine as soon as possible. But um, would just surrender before the battle even began, um, and just feeling completely hopeless because of that. Like, um, no matter how much they attacked me, I felt like I had no way to fight back. So I just give up before the battle started. Um, and then because of that, once I've surrendered, that's when I say, and that's when the swarm came flooding in. Um, and so, of course, that's referencing those little bats I talk about after. And that's just the bats are supposed to sort of represent those like negative thoughts and um, sort of like your insecurities or your doubts, fears, self hatred, all kinds of things like that. And just like overthinking again, like that cycle of thoughts that just overwhelms you. And so, once I've given up, those thoughts just have free range to um, completely overwhelm me and destroy me. And so then, like I say there, they come in swooping from every angle and piercing my skin, finding their way in deeper and blinding my view. Um, like, as I said, they kind of just come in and destroy me, but they like um, just dig deep into me and make me feel horrible about myself, and more and more hopeless. And they blind my view, like they distort my vision of myself and the reality of the situation I'm in, and um, just make me feel all the more like lost, and um, like there is um, no hope for me, and like I'm in a much worse place than in reality from the outside than I actually probably am. Um, but again, I just felt like there was nothing I could do, and just let them attack. So then, yeah, they like keep coming in, cluttering my thoughts, and like just making me feel like, as I say there, they're just like making like whispering inside of my head that this is all I can be, telling me there is no alternative for me here. There is no um, there's like no hope for anything better for me. I'm just, this is all I am. This negative version of myself that I'm sort of stuck being at the moment, making me feel like that is truly who I am and all that I'll ever be. That um, I might as well just accept this and fully embrace it and not even try to fight it anymore at all, and just completely submit to feeling this way. And that's what my like thoughts really did do a lot at the time. So I kind of like around that time did a lot of just letting those bats win and make me agree. And like as I say there, where it's like yelling in agreement with this army that this truly is all I can be. um yeah, like I say there that I um like feel so strong and fearless now, like embracing this and taking that darkness and making it truly a part of me. Like even though I was like more and more under the control of that and pushed into a deeper, darker, sadder place, somehow I guess embracing that and choosing it for myself instead of just letting it take over me itself from the outside, like joining that army fighting against me, somehow made me feel more strong and powerful. And like even though it was for bad toward myself, like I had at least some sort of control here. um and finally felt like there's nothing I can't be, even though maybe that wasn't really true because of the reality of the situation. It just made me feel like I could be anything. I'm strong and in control here now. So then that next part kind of goes um, in relation to how, like in real life, when I would get into these um, sort of places with myself mentally, it would um, like get to this sort of climax kind of part where I'm in the deepest, darkest part of it. And it seems like, although, like, no matter how bad it would get, eventually, um, like at that greatest point, it would sort of pass. And so those kind of two little stances there um, kind of tell that part where the beast bursts through the curtain of darkness and breaks down those walls, protecting my vulnerability. Um, that was kind of showing like when I'd have these times, I would like feel so trapped and confined, and it would just be weighing down on me and tearing me apart and just making me feel horrible and just building and building and building inside of me. And then eventually it would just like break through and sort of let my vulnerability out. And that's when I'd um, like break down and cry or something, like let that vulnerability out in some way, or whatever it was. Like as I say there, as if at my peak I was at my greatest weakness, like my great increase in power was the source of my increased frailty. So I'd like build up and bottle inside and feel so big and strong, even though it was like negatively. And then it would just, I'd just completely break down for a while and I guess like let it all out and be at this frail, vulnerable point. And so then, like that beast and that part of myself would come like, it's still there. I haven't like escaped or anything, but it like comes and approaches me, as I say in that second part there. And I'm just like facing it head on, sort of. And I'm just ready to accept defeat, as I had already like decided earlier on that I had already given up. So as it comes to face me for the final time, I'm ready for it to just take me out and finish me off. Um, and so I just keep sinking down into that as it's staring me down, and I'm just waiting for my end. But as that was happening, I'd like um, kind of start to see some glimmer of hope, or like a light inside that darkness. Like maybe this thing I'm feeling, or this sort of enemy that I'm opposed, like in opposition with, is not just quite as like dark and evil as I had thought. Like maybe there's something lighter inside there. Maybe this darkness, this like dark part of myself, is actually not a dark part, but like light disguised as darkness, or like trapped within a darkness or something, and it just needs to be let out. And so I'd kind of see that little glimmer of hope or light within it, and um, then I'd like break free. Um, and so that's when I say, like, the I shoot up and scream part, kind of implying that this story that happened is um, like meant to be, um, like it was actually a dream and not actually reality, which kind of reflected how, um, for me, um, like in real life at the time, I would, um, like this place I would get into would, um, make me see things not truly quite as they are, and create this fake, like fake reality for myself, um, and see things a lot worse than they really were, and get pulled into this like internal world within myself, and just feel so far from reality that it was kind of dreamlike in a way. Um, and so then I'd break out of it, and um, like kind of feel sometimes just stupid about myself. Like, why did I just spend the last couple hours or days or even longer sometimes just stuck in that dark place and feeling that way? And then thinking back on like things I might have done during that time and just being filled with regret. Like, why did I do that? Why did I have to suffer through that? And um, just um, starting to question, like, is this even really real? Is this like, am I even like valid for feeling this way? And all sorts of questions like that. And kind of reflected in that part where I say, like, were the bats ever there? Did they just go away? Were the beasts of my nightmares really there to destroy me? Did I let this all happen? Could I have avoided it all? Is this really what I was meant to be? And like that kind of stuff, just questioning the validity of a lot of the things I was dealing with, and um, just feeling like, is this really what I am? Is this really all I can be? Um, and despite kind of questioning that and seeing some truth in those thoughts that were a bit more positive, and like it's not all I can be, again, I would just start to question again if maybe that really is all I can be, and fall back into that cycle from the beginning. Um, so then, if you take nothing else from this poem or anything I say here with you, um, I hope it's this last part where I, um, it's kind of written to an outsider, but when I was writing it like to myself as a reminder to me. And this part became very important to me because, um, as I went on after writing this and was still having these feelings and cycles and everything, it was a good thing to look back to and remind myself. So that first part, is just reminding myself, or a reader, listener, whoever, that when things seem to be going all wrong and beyond your control, it's like accepting that, yes, that is bad, and um, whatever there, but don't make it worse than it needs to be. Um, you don't have to like embrace it as it says there, but don't let it destroy you. Um, like you don't have to completely love this thing you're suffering through or these parts of yourself that you don't like. You don't have to like fully embrace them and love that you're suffering in these ways, but don't let it destroy you. Don't make it like into this. Don't let it be just a like overpowering force against you, because then, as like I say there with the beasts and bats and everything, like it'll make you into something you don't want to be, where they convince you that this is all you can be, and um, like trick you into believing that you are like on their side and do all these like negative things to yourself, whatever it is. Um, and then that whole last larger section there. Firstly, I just want to point out, as a lover of rhyme and everything, I'm like even now still really proud of that part and the ways it kind of rhymes and flows and everything. I mean, I think hearing it earlier, you can kind of see what I mean there, but I don't know. I think there's some really cool rhyme things going on there, um, and it was really fun to write that part, especially. But I feel like I don't have a whole lot to say about this part because it's, I mean, pretty much straightforward. It says right there all the things I would want to say about it right now. Um, but yeah, just remember that when you make it so your reality becomes like the very worst possibility of all, and you are like so stuck in this mindset of like bad things happening to you and that's all you deserve and all you can get and it's all you are, then that's the reality that will become true. If you truly believe that there's no other way it can possibly be, then there will be no other way it can possibly be. It will be all you can be. Like you create your own reality, for better or worse. Um, and then, like as I say right after that, even if it's not what, even when truly it's not what you see, your worrying mind just cannot agree. Even when you know that things aren't as bad as you're making them seem, or as bad as you're making yourself feel, because you're sort of letting these thoughts do that to you, or even choosing it yourself, since your mind is maybe already sort of in this weak state, or just isn't at its best because of things you're struggling with, or whatever it is. Um, it just can't fight back, and um, will just willingly succumb to that um, devastating reality you create for it. And so it's just then reminding you that um, despite despite these things, you need to just try to believe that things may be better than how they seem to you. Um, that maybe, even if it's just a little bit, maybe there is some hope for you, and maybe there is a light within that darkness that you can find and hold on to and get to a better place, like I did personally. Um, like for me, this stuff I'm saying here is what I like really put into practice after writing this, and it didn't like help right away, but over time, slowly, I began to get more strength to fight that and hold on to that hope or light or whatever tighter and tighter, and let it grow until it overcomes the darkness. And So then there's that part of how you perceive is something no one else sees, something only you can be. So just reminding myself or you or whoever that um, you are unique, and um, both the like positive or more negative sides of that, like you have um, like these positive unique qualities about you that you should like let shine, and um, do something good with that. And then also the darker sides of yourself, like, are of course like often very much internal things that no one else can really see or often understand. And that was something that a lot of times made me feel so alone, because I would be struggling with these things, and sometimes people could see that I was struggling with things, but they couldn't truly understand what exactly was going on with me internally. So no matter how much they wanted to help and be there for me, they just really couldn't, because that's something only I can be, a world within me that I can only see. And um, so just kind of validating that, yeah, you may have these things you're struggling with, um, and no one else can truly understand it and see it the way you do. And yeah, that may be like a bit of a scary and sad kind of thing in a way, but also um, I think it's like a validating kind of thing. Um, like it's your, I mean, your own world that you have the choice to do whatever you want with. And while it may be this like not so great place right now, and maybe causing you some pain and suffering and all these things, um, it's, I mean, your own battle, your own world that you can choose to fight, and you can choose to change. Um, so then, because of that, at the end there, I try to remind myself again, and whoever else that um, like try not to deceive yourself, and try to relieve yourself of these thoughts and burdens that you keep holding on to. And um, like acknowledging that, yeah, that's like much easier said than done, but um, it's never gonna get done if we don't like make an effort to do it. um, because yeah, if we don't fight it, if we don't try to do anything, then yeah, it is all you can be, unless you don't let it be. You have to do something um, to make that change from being overcome with these things and overcoming these things. So yeah, that last part became very important to me, because at the time I was doing a lot of just letting them make me believe that it is all I can be, and truly making it so that was all I could be. Um, I created this like dark and twisted reality for myself, and just let it overwhelm me to the point of like complete self devastation. And then writing this helped me to be able to begin to see that there is a strong level of choice within that. Was choosing to let this be who I was, and helped me to start trying to make that change. So um, it wasn't all I am. And now looking back on this, like several years later, yeah, that is like still a part of me, and I don't think that will ever change. But rather than being the entirety of who I am, or at least feeling that way, it's just this little part of me that um, I have pretty decent control over. And when it does try to come up and take control over me, I am able to um, like resist that and not just succumb to its power and choose to um, like accept that part of me. And um, like I think there is some good that comes from um, some of those feelings in like moderation. And I mean, of course, definitely helps with writing sometimes. But of course, with all things, like it needs to be in moderation. And I have all these um, like more positive sides of myself that have become stronger than that. And um, yeah, just feeling like I have more control over my own reality and truth than I did at the time that I wrote that. And I don't know. I think that's, I mean, just a powerful thing. And I hope that um, if you did make it to the end of this, um, of course, thank you. I'm glad I didn't like bore you too much, but yeah, I hope that that can stick with you in some way. And whether you're in that um, sort of kind of dark place within yourself and in your own life right now or not, maybe it can connect with past experiences, or it can connect with you in some way. And if you are in sort of a similar state with yourself right now as I was, especially I hope that this can be some sort of guide and give you some sense of hope through that. Um, because, I mean, as I say, we're all broken and we're just arranging the pieces. So I hope that can help you in some way, and you can one day arrange your brokenness and come out of it better than before and get to a better place, like I feel like I have through writing these poems and everything. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you see you next time.